I'm Bee.
And I'm Renske.
We are so grateful that you are here.
Welcome to School of Joy.
Hello, Bee here. Before we get started with today's episode, I wanted to tell you about a couple of new offerings we have here at School of Joy. Renske is now hosting a weekly live meditation at 9:30am Amsterdam time, 8:30am British time. This is a 20-minute group meditation on Zoom, and the replay is available on our Substack, which you can listen to at any time, and I will pop the link below. We are now also offering free monthly breathwork sessions on Zoom, guided by myself, and monthly harmonic sound healings from Renske, also on Zoom. If you're a Joy Circle subscriber, we'll let you know about these events via email. The link to subscribe is in the episode description. Enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome back to another episode of School of Joy. And today we're going to be talking about Renske's journey in spiritual self-mastery, which I'm sure is going to be really, really interesting. So Renske, what does self-mastery mean to you?
Self-mastery mean to me? It means taking radical responsibility for our own energy. It means listening to a deeper calling of my soul to want to grow and evolve in life. And I can only do that through taking that radical responsibility for what I choose to create. So in a way, I see that self-mastery is a letting go of the victim self and a reclaiming of our own power, the power that we hold to co-create in life, to really step into that mastery of co-creation with spirit. Whatever spirit is for people, that's for me, it's kind of like tuning into that something bigger than just Renske. It's connecting with the universe or God, or I mean, probably if you would have asked me 4 or 5 years ago, I would still struggle a little bit with the word God, actually. But I think nowadays the word God for me means this energy of oneness, this energy of connectedness. So yeah, self-mastery really, I think I have shifted from it, how do I say that? It being separate in a way that I used to see my spiritual and my physical life as separate. I have now really learned that it's all one, and I don't just know that rationally, mentally, I really experience that as well, that the inner work is not when I sit on my pillow and do my meditation necessarily. The inner work is in every breath, in every minute of the day, me choosing to be present with what is. And, within my family especially, my family life has become much busier over the last 4 years. From being single now, a mum within a family of 3 children. And of course, that will show me, that will reflect to me the energy within me that is unresolved. So, and that sort of becomes, it's much more in my face now. So that's where the real inner work is. So it's not necessarily in the meditation. It's in the meditation that I practice being present. And then I have to then integrate that into, the situations within my family. So that's, I guess, more and more that I've come to understand that self-mastery is life. Yeah, is life. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when we start on this journey, it does sort of feel slightly separate, doesn't it? And maybe that is perfect as it is, that we initially do sort of separate the two things. And like what you're saying about it, you're realizing over time that, the everyday things are the spiritual self-mastery
Yeah,
gifts.
yeah, they are the gifts.
I feel that's resonating for me more and more now. Um, yeah. And I know that, like, motherhood, you're still really, really a new mum,
Mm,
Lily's not even one
yeah.
yet. So I'm sure there's been lots of challenges in that for you. How has that been?
Yeah, that's been a massive transformation, really. And one of the biggest gifts for me in life up until now. I think, be- I mean, if I look back, like, I'm really thinking back, like, how long is it ago before I stepped into this work? Because the work we're doing through the Ishtar channel within the spiritual self mastery is really the deep dive. I think before that, I did some work already, but that was more through the rational mind, and then I started to learn, okay, how I can go deeper, resolving parts of myself that were limiting me to some degree. So I've been doing that. And then I noticed after a couple years of walking that path of self mastery that life started to just be, yeah, much easier. And I felt much more neutral in many things in my life. And then I became a mum, and it was like, whoa, I'm back in my face. Certain aspects that would come up again. And I haven't been triggered like this for a while, I have to say. So
Mm,
it felt kind of like a spiritual self mastery 2.0 for me when I became Lily's mum. And I think the biggest um, fear that has come up for me within motherhood is that fear of not being good enough. Fear of not being good enough as a mother. And I know that energy. I know that fear of not being good enough because I've been working with that for so long now. And I think for the first mm, 5 months, I didn't really realize that that was the energy I was working with. Because I think the main thing where I started to become aware of that was the sleep struggles that we had with Lily. Um, we had quite a traumatic birth. Like, we've been separated at birth because she had breathing issues, which was really scary and really like fearful part of um funny. I haven't been emotional about this for a while, and now I'm saying this out loud, and probably because we're recording, it's highlighted. So that's good. It's good that
mm,
it's coming up. So it's still there's still stuff sitting there. Yeah.
mm,
Um, she didn't breathe for the first 5 minutes of her life, and that was the most scariest part of my life, really,
mm,
to birth a child and then to have these thoughts coming up, like, is this really gonna, like, is she's gonna, like, the thoughts of, like, is she gonna die? Like,
mm,
like that, like those couple minutes where those thoughts flash through your mind. Luckily, very, like, luckily, she started to breathe then quite quickly after those thoughts.
mm,
So we were very, very grateful for the help that we had. We had a home birth, and the midwife, she's been amazing. The other caretakers in the house as well. So I also felt, besides it being really scary, I felt so supported and so carried through that. I think that's why, for me personally, I've been able to still hold on to a positive experience. Even though there was fear and it was scary, I still feel it was a positive birth, which sounds maybe a bit funny because I also call it a traumatic birth, but I feel both. I can really feel both. But because she had breathing troubles and I lost a lot of blood, we both had to go to the hospital and we had to go in separate ambulances. So we were separated for the first bit, where, of course, my ideal picture was to have that golden hour and to have that skin to skin and
Yeah.
to really have that joyful first moment together at home. And that was not the case at all. And then I think from there, um, of course, Lily, that was a traumatic experience for Lily as well. So she didn't want to leave me. And
Yeah.
of course, that is the case already with a child
Mm.
coming into this life. But I guess when there is separation at birth, physical separation, then that is even more highlighted. I guess that the child then needs even more contact.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's a trauma, isn't it, that they've
yeah, it is. Yeah,
experienced? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we had lots of contact naps, and for the first month, she's been sleeping in a sling in a carry bag with me and on me. We did co-sleeping for a long time until I felt we sort of ready to start practicing sleeping in the bed as well. Her bed is next to our bed, so still super close. And then we sort of built that up. And then during the day, she was able to sleep by herself, but during the night, it's been a struggle until only recently we've been able to shift that. And why am I sharing this? Because I think where I left it before I went on to explaining this story is that I realized that for the first month, I've been trying to fix and change. So I wasn't aware at all that I was coming from a fear of not being enough, actually, in that
Mm.
situation. I wasn't ready to work with that directly just yet. I had to fix and change first to be able to create that awareness within me. So I've tried, how does it look like fixing, changing? Like I've tried many different sessions with osteopaths and I bought like online courses and read different books about sleep and children and attachment and safe attachment and everything, everything there is to read. I absorb it like a sponge, which also is very a trait of me. I can go like tunnel vision focus onto something if I really sort of we say in Dutch, like we bite ourselves into it.
This is so familiar to me.
Yeah, I know. It's I think a trait of highly sensitive people as well,
Mm.
that we can have this hyper focus. And it's which is for me also, I find that at times also a really nice thing and good thing because I also learn a lot through the mental mind. Then I gain a lot of knowledge
Mm.
around it all. And it really supported me also to understand that, for example, Lily's crying is a way for her not just to say, hey, I'm hungry, or hey, I need a hug, or whatever. It's also a way of releasing stress and
Mm.
releasing trauma. So through all that reading and through all that trying to change and fix, I've also become aware of me being able to support her through holding space whilst she's crying so that she can actually release the trauma that she's held from the birth. And that's been a massive shift in her energy and my energy, first of all. So we needed that. We really, really needed that. Then I realized, because of course, after a certain amount of months, you're wiped, you're done.
Mm.
If you
Mhm.
don't have enough sleep, if you, what's enough really, but if you have like, I would probably have like 2 to 5 hours of sleep every night.
Mm.
But then I realized me trying to fix and change me going into the night fearing, will I have enough sleep? When will she wake up again? You know, how much hours am I going to get before she wakes up? Like all these thoughts in the future, or all these thoughts in the past of me going over what has happened unconsciously first, but then I became conscious of that, was actually leaking my energy because I wasn't accepting the situation for what it was. And the moment I came to that realization, I let go all the reading, all the listening to podcasts. I let go trying to fix and change and really sit more in meditation in my heart daily then, to simply accept, to come to sort of a level of acceptance within me, because I know by now through the self-mastery, acceptance we can't think, acceptance we need to create by uplifting our energy field. So I was going to give myself really this time to sit and meditate in my heart more, to uplift my frequency in this situation. And I felt then after probably month and a half, or already before that, but after a month and a half, I felt, okay, now I'm sort of ready to work with the deeper consciousness, with the deeper layers of this. But after even maybe a day, I felt so much more energy throughout the day. Which is funny because still I had the same amount of sleep through the night, but I stopped leaking my energy into thoughts in the future or thoughts in the past. And then that was a big lesson, first of all, that through acceptance I can gain so much more energy. And that it is to work with my beliefs around sleep also, and expectations around sleep, instead of trying to, I guess, push to more sleep. Yeah. So that was the first big lesson. And then the next step was, okay, now I'm ready to work with the deeper layer. Although at that time I didn't know still what that was. And I felt that the guidance was to reach out to one of my mentors and friends, Joanna Rushton in Australia. And I was guided to do a scribe healing with her, which is a healing that works with past life experiences. Because I felt, this fear of not being good enough. And there was also fear of losing her, big fear of losing her actually within that sort of consciousness, within that energy. I can understand that as a parent, you feel that. I can understand that every parent to some degree feels that. But it felt so big and so deep that I knew, like, this is energy I carry from past lifetimes that I'm asked to let go of. So I reached out and I said to Joe, I'm ready, to let go and release, but I don't know yet what my question is.
Yeah.
I don't know yet what the energy is that we're working with. I have a feeling, I have a sense, but I'm reaching out for support because that was the guidance. And she came back with a response that really helped me to then understand what the consciousness, what the energy was, because she came back with the question. She said, all right, for now, then just go and sit with the question. What do you make this situation mean about yourself? So what do I make the sleep struggles mean for me? Because what I make it mean can be different to what JP, my husband, makes it mean, or what Lily makes it mean, So it was such a great question for me that I've written down, even, or like sort of back in the back of my mind, is a tool now. It's like if I get triggered, I'm going to come back to that question. What do I make it mean? Yeah, so that was great, because then when I sat with it in meditation and I asked that question, what do I make it mean? I started crying and the floodgates were open.
Mm.
And I felt this part of me coming forward. It's like, yeah, there's such a big fear of not feeling good enough as a mother. Such a big fear.
So
So
was
then
that shift quite rapid, like from Joe's question to you
yeah,
receiving that? Yeah,
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. And it hasn't always been like that. I think that's
Mm.
through the practice that becomes easier, of course. But I had to sat in my heart temple, of course, like in my heart space and meditation, to be able to ask that question and get the rapid sort of shift as well. Um, Me just mentally asking myself that question is not gonna create the shift. It can, but maybe not so quickly. Yeah. Um,
For me, there's something about divine timing here as well, because I think, you know, let's assume everyone listening is into self-development of some form. I think sometimes we can see unhealthy patterns in the way that we live or the way that we have a perspective on things. And like my experience, and I see this with people around me as well, is that we just want to get rid of it and we just want to fix it now. It just, it's causing us pain and we know it's causing us pain. We just want it gone. But what I really hear so much in your story is that there was a process
yeah.
and there was
Well,
several months of really struggling with it before you were able, in divine timing, to be ready for that energy to shift. And then when you were ready, it shifted really
it's
quickly.
quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so right. Yeah.
And
That's
that's an experience that I can resonate with so
mm,
much as
yeah.
well. But you have to allow the process. And sometimes that's really challenging.
In the beginning, it is. Yeah. And it makes sense as well, like we have this awareness of, hey, all right, I'm fixing and changing. It's not going to support me, but how am I going to fix and change that?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like we then hold it, or we can hold. This time around, I felt there wasn't, but we can hold judgment then around about that.
Mm.
Because sometimes we're so aware, especially as highly sensitive people. I think there's also meaning to that, but that's a side note for some other episode. There's, as a highly sensitive person, we are so aware. What we are really learning is not to have any judgment on that, because that's going to create the biggest and quickest shift into learning the lesson and really letting it go. And that's what I love the law of relativity. The law of relativity states that there's seasons to life and there's a process to things, as you just said. And the moment I became aware that I was trying to fix and change, I knew now there's a season of acceptance coming. And I'm not going to try anything. I'm not going to judge it. I'm not going to judge myself for, or why am I not seeing the lesson yet? Why do I? No, this is a season of acceptance. So I'm going to sit as much as I need until I'm ready to see it,
Mm.
until I'm ready to feel it. And I think that's coming back to the first question, what does self mastery mean? I think that's self mastery.
Mm.
If we truly embody and integrate that there's a process to things, and we continue to take these steps, and we accept that these steps are needed to come full circle and to go a level deeper.
Mm.
Um, and that's then the law of love, the acknowledgement, which is the awareness, acknowledgement, acceptance, embrace. And that's yeah, it's been so interesting, because to sort of finish the story around Lily and the sleep struggles, the last step where I was at then was the embrace, right? That's where I came to. It's like, okay, now I've gotten to the deeper layer of the fear of not being good enough as a mother. We then took that in, and Joe received a beautiful Akashic record for me, which is a record that holds the story and the consciousness of past lives or life. Sometimes it's multiple lifetimes that a scribe can receive, and sometimes it's a lifetime, an experience within a lifetime. And she saw that in past lifetimes, I've had multiple traumatic births, and in particular, one that she saw of twins, where one baby was born still, and the other baby can't mm, can't really remember, but I think sort of died after 5 weeks or very early on. So from that experience in that lifetime, I had created lots of unresolved karma, as you can, as we can all understand from such a trauma. We create so much grief and sadness and fear that we can't give enough as a mother, that we're not enough. We don't have enough what it takes to raise our babies, or whatever has been created. So then she supported me in that first step to releasing whatever has been created. And that healing goes into different layers. So first, where we project it onto our chakras and energy bodies, and then second, where we project it onto something or someone else. And in this case, I projected that onto Lily. It's that energy that I projected onto Lily, which created my reality there and then, with the sleep struggles and me responding or reacting in a certain way. And then from there, because I'm a scribe as well, we decided, okay, now the next couple steps I was gonna do myself in divine timing as well, whenever I felt ready. The next step is then where you project it onto yourself and parts of yourself, because we hold different parts within ourselves as well. And the last sort of step is where we project it onto God, or the universe, or of spirit. The moment we did the healing with Lily, where I projected it onto Lily, a couple days after, she got sick. She got really high fever, and I believe that fever is also a way in the physical of releasing karma. So I felt, okay, we're working together here. You felt, or like, if I shift something, it's inevitable something's going to shift within her as well, because there's this connection. So she moved through that, which, not coincidentally, we were also then just the two of us at home for 2 weeks. I was like, oh, this is such divine timing, and so supportive for us to just be together for 2 weeks now whilst she's sick, because JP was away for work and the other two girls were with their mum. So it's been amazing to sort of work with her in the physical level, but also still holding myself every night when she went to sleep. Then I would sit with it in my heart. Then when she got better, she started sleeping through the night.
Yeah.
And my mind was just like blown away. Like, ever since then, her sleep has been so much more like, what's it called? Peaceful. Like, because what happened back then as well, she would wake up screaming in the night, literally. And I would be sometimes like, in despair, like I wouldn't know what to do anymore at some stage, like, other than holding her. But then, that was all the reality I created from an unconscious level until I became conscious. And then, now it's a month and a half since she's been sleeping through the night, and it's I'm a different person because I have lots of energy again, but not just because of that. I'm not just a different person because I sleep through the night again. I am a different person because I've learned another deep lesson in, this is really how life works. My mind has another confirmation of, this is what self-mastery is, and this is what working with our energy means, and this is what taking back our power means. So I'm so grateful for all the sleep struggles we've had for 9 months, because it has given me this massive lesson and transformation within myself. And
Mm.
I'm sure another lesson will come around. That's
Yeah, they always do.
they always do. And I am now sort of more equipped again to work with that. So yeah. So that's
Wow.
what motherhood has given me already in the past 10 months. Yeah.
Now, what an incredible story. Like, what an incredible shift.
Mm.
And I know acceptance has been like a big thing for you in other areas as well of your life. Is there any other stories you'd like to share around that? Because, I think, yeah, the more, for me at the moment anyway, with my spiritual self-mastery journey, like acceptance is a really huge part of that work.
Yeah.
And I know you've got some inspiring stories around that. So yeah, would you like to share one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, acceptance, to come back to that, I think the moment we truly learn that acceptance is so important, the self-mastery is so much easier. Like the inner work becomes so much easier, because I feel that in general, the moment we accept, we open the door to unconditional love. We open the door to learning a new lesson. So it's really, 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 really powerful to learn how to release judgment and to come into a state of acceptance. Yeah. And I think for myself, my angelic higher self, Philongia, um, she is the keeper of the stars of acceptance, of divine will. So I think through that, I'm going to be given lessons in my life to really learn to master that acceptance. And there's no coincidence that even before knowing that, I have tattooed on my arm, "'Tis what 'tis."
Mm.
Because I guess I felt already before that this is just such a big thing for me to learn in this life. Um, One experience, also related actually to Lily, but that was before Lily was conceived, is probably a powerful story to share around acceptance as
Mm.
well. When I got together with JP, of course, I became a mum of two beautiful girls as well, a bonus mum, we call it, instead of step mum, because it sounds a bit kinder to us. Um, and then I think after a year or so, because of course we're a certain age, and we started chatting about, okay, is this it, or do you want more children? Do I want more children? Um, and I think at some point we both thought yes was the answer, that we wanted another child together. And we tried, but then after the first pregnancy test, I felt that was such a roller coaster already, even one pregnancy test. So I
Mm.
can only, sympathize so much with people like yourself. You had lots of trouble
Mm.
getting pregnant. So wow, I mean, if I already had that roller coaster with one pregnancy test, I can only imagine. Like, I really would love to hear your story about that actually at some
Mm.
stage as well, because it's
Yeah.
such a mind fuck and such a emotional roller coaster. Wow.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
But then after that first test, we actually felt like, hey, it's not the right timing. It's not, we have to really sit with this if this is really what we want. And we then left it for a while, and then we came back to it. And then JP was actually very clear. Like, he was saying, I don't know, Renske, and I don't know if I will ever say I'm going to say yes. Right
Mm.
now, it's a no, and I don't know if that's going to change. And that, of course, was then for me to take in as well, because that would mean, if that wouldn't change, that I would not become a mother in the way I maybe had expected myself to be. Yeah, so that was again a season where I was asked to sit in acceptance, or at least create a state of acceptance within me. Because at that time when he said that, there was no acceptance. There was no acceptance just yet. Because then I said to JP, yeah, then I really need to sit with this. And then it comes down to the choice: am I going to stay in this relationship, or am I leaving? If I really hold on to that I want to become a biological mum, that means if you can't say yes right now, then that might, be the result that I then leave the relationship.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest lesson there that I learned was, okay, the moment I am in doubt, I know for sure that it is my ego.
Mm.
The moment I am in doubt, there's no clarity around my choice. So what I really learned there was letting go of trying to push the choice, of trying to create the choice from a place of control, I think, is the best word for it.
And fear, I guess, as
And
well.
fear.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And fear. Yeah. So yeah, that was another probably month or so of lots of meditation and dropping into the void, which is like the deep space within our heart where we receive. And I remember that after a while, we had a class, was with Ishtar, and she shared something, and all of a sudden my whole system sort of felt like, yeah, now I have clarity. I'm asked to stay with JP. And I can't explain even why I felt that. I just felt that. It was a deeper knowing that I was like, I'm going to stay with JP. If that means that I'm not going to be a biological mom, then that is so. I might still have grief around that, but at least I had clarity around my choice to stay in the relationship. And then 2 months after, we had a whoopsie and Lily was conceived. To sort of fast forward to the end of it. And that was not, of course, on purpose at all.
No.
Maybe to some degree, there's purpose to it, of course. But yeah, it was. And the funny thing, I think the biggest paradox there was that I had come to an acceptance, and then the universe was like, let's throw a 180. And I had to come to an acceptance again. That one came much quicker, but my mind had then created new expectations of my life, I realized, without me being a biological mum. So I started sort of focusing on a different path,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then life threw you a curveball.
And then again, I had to shift and change and come to an acceptance that was it. And that one came, of course, much quicker. And we both realized quite quickly that that Lily was a divine gift, and that was exactly meant to be. Because even on hindsight, we realized that with our first date, we went out for a walk, and which was somewhere also June, July, sort of like summer here in Europe. And that we had seen so many water lilies on that walk. Yeah, so it was really funny that Lily was sort of always with us in that way. And I mean, now, of course, I can't imagine life any differently. But it's been a big lesson in acceptance, and then a curveball and acceptance again. And so
it's something I've seen in myself and others, that when you truly come into acceptance, then suddenly everything shifts in a way that's really unexpected.
Yeah.
which makes this journey a real roller coaster.
Mm.
But yeah, finding that peace and that acceptance is, yeah, I think especially, I've had that same experience with something really big as well. And that's where I think the spiritual self-mastery can be so supportive, because that's really where peace lies. True peace is just accepting life is unfolding as it is meant to. And I don't need to force or push, or my ego doesn't need to control. I can just trust, and we're going to do an episode on that. Our next episode is about that. So yeah, I think we've both got lots to share around that.
Yeah, yeah. But it's such an easier way of living,
Yeah.
if we can come into acceptance, we give ourselves so much energy back because we're being present with what is. That comes back to it is what it is,
Mm.
and little did I know when I chose that tattoo that it's has such a deep meaning, such a deep meaning. Yeah. The moment we come to it is what it is the moment we can love ourselves more unconditionally, and we can learn, we can grow. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you sharing. I remember actually, because you had some maternity leave when you first had Lily, and then I remember we had a replacement teacher for a while, and the first lesson you came back, it was so funny because you were like sharing all this wisdom of you'd just been through this huge thing, and we were all like scribbling down all your wisdom. But one of the things that you shared, and I've really, really like taken that on board, is about zooming out of the situation that I think you were
Yeah.
describing, when Lily is crying. And yeah, in our human experience, it's so easy to be so zoomed in and in that dense energy right in that moment. But you were sharing that you were zooming out and seeing like these two souls, Renske and Lily, and that you've chosen to have this experience of life together. And that this is just one tiny little moment in that whole beautiful experience that you're going to share. And I just thought, yeah, it's just as a parent in general, it's so easy to sort of get pinned down to that tiny little moment, and not see the beauty of, everything from up above. And yeah, I just love that. I've really, really taken that on board. It's such a helpful kind of analogy.
Yeah, it's a
Mm.
law of relativity, I think, again, as
Yeah,
well. Yeah, like
yeah.
it's just a little season of the bigger journey. Yeah. Hmm.
Thank you so much for sharing, Renske. Is there anything else that you wanted to share? I mean, you could talk for hours. I think you have so much wisdom.
Well, the funny thing is around wisdom, first of all, I don't necessarily see myself as wise. I think the moment I'm sort of trusting myself enough to not mentally prepare for something anymore, to
Mm,
trust the inner work enough to open my heart, that's where the quote unquote wise stuff comes out. And even my mind is sometimes like, where did that come from? And that's, I think, for everyone, like we are all so wise. Everyone holds so much wisdom. That's why I truly, truly enjoy teaching so much, because everyone has so much to share that
mm,
we can all learn from. But we can only share that if we learn to trust ourselves, and
mm.
if we learn to be vulnerable with ourselves, so that, yeah, that we can open up. So, yeah, no, I don't think I have anything else.
I feel like we're lining up the next episode in such
Yeah,
a smooth way.
yeah. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about higher guidance, what that is, and that has a lot to do with trust. So, if you're keen to hear more about that, then
Stay tuned.
stay tuned for the next one. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, should we move on to our joy sparks?
Yes. Yeah.
Have one if you need a bit of time, or do you have one?
I do have one, but
Okay, well, you go first then.
okay, all
Yeah,
right.
this is your episode.
Um, it was this morning, and I shared about it on my stories already, actually, on Instagram, because and it has a lot to do with what we just shared about this morning. Before going to school, everyone's sort of ready, very on time. And the girls were playing with Lily's stuff, which is quite funny because they're teenagers now, and like they sometimes still like to do that role play with the baby stuff. Um, and they were playing like as if they were. One was like how do you call that? Like someone in the shop selling stuff, and the other one was like the customer. And it was like super funny to watch and observe them play. And Lily was just in the corner, just doing her own thing. And then, oh yeah, I had to change Lily's nappy. So I went upstairs because the diapers downstairs were finished. And all of a sudden I heard screaming and yelling. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to jump in straight away to fix. I'm just going to change Lily's nappy here, and then we'll see, what's happening there, what the situation is. But then very soon after, one of them sort of stormed upstairs into her room, crying, crying, crying. The other one was downstairs. I think she was reading a book or whatever. So I went upstairs with Lily to see one of her sisters that was crying, and I was simply holding her. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm just gonna hold her. All she needs is just a hug and to feel understood, to feel heard. So just held her and said, that didn't sound very nice. Like, what happened? Oh no, I didn't even ask what happened. Um, she just started sort of sharing, like, no, it was stupid and blah 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 blah. So she just went on to like a vent, really. And the only thing I said then was like, oh, that's shitty, like that's I can understand that you feel shit, I can understand that. I hear you. Didn't say much. And she stopped her crying and she was like, sort of like, okay, yeah, now I'm ready to go. I
Mm,
was like, do you want to come downstairs again with us? Maybe read your book or something. Yeah, that's good. So it was done in like just like seconds, really.
mm,
She went down and they were both reading a book, and it was very quiet and peaceful. Then I also sort of went to the other girls asking if she was all right and blah, blah, blah. And then we went into the car. They were still reading their book. But then the middle one, she sat in the front, and she was sort of ready to do like a play. She's really into role play. She loves creating scenes and being like theater stuff. She loves that. And her sister just wanted to read now, so she didn't want to play. So I started going into her role play, and I don't know, like I love that as well. Like I got into many different characters, and we were both cracking up. And then the oldest one sort of was like very intrigued, like, oh, they're having so much fun in the front there. So she joined into our play then at some stage as well, and then we ended up in the car park at school, like cracking up,
oh.
and that was just such a joyful morning that within the scope of an hour we went through
Mm,
all these emotions,
yeah.
and yeah, I thought to myself, like, this is really what life is about, to not hold
Mm,
judgment around any emotion, but just to simply to ride the wave with them and to sort of hold the space for them. But
yeah.
yeah, I was so grateful then that I have these tools in self mastery to be able to do that. If I continue to work with myself and do the inner work with myself, that automatically sets me up to be a great space holder for the girls. So that was just
Mm,
yeah, that was such a joyful morning. Yeah,
mm.
despite all the fight and the tears as well there. Yeah.
And that's that ripple effect, isn't it? Because, yeah, like, because you've done the inner work, you're able to hold space for just what is, what
Mm.
is. And in
Yeah.
that moment, there was, some emotion coming up, and then she was able to feel held and safe, and then her energy was able to shift. And, um, Yeah, like, you know, imagine if every child in the world had that experience of when they experience emotion, that was how it was received. You know, it's hugely powerful, and I think we
Mm,
underestimate the power of this work sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, by the way, like, that this is I respond like this every time, like, no,
Of
I don't
course.
wanna, like, guilt trip anyone into like, "Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I'm not able to do that."
Yeah.
This is just one joyful moment for me that I was able
Mm,
to do that, you
yeah.
know? But that's not always the case, don't
No.
get me wrong. Yeah.
No. Well, we're only humans.
Uh, and yours, what is yours?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've had quite a roller coaster of a few weeks, which I'll share more about in another episode. Um, and yeah, and I had like a really difficult interaction with my dad on my birthday, which was last week, and um, yeah, I mean, it was a gift because it showed me some stuff that I, you know, was able to look at. And then last night, I've really shifted some energy recently that I was sitting in some dense energy. And last night I went for a swim quite late in the evening, and I was driving back, and it was, you know, it was the sun had set, but there was still light in the sky. And I was driving through my beautiful county, and there was quite a lot of amazing clouds and sort of so much color in the sky. And I just felt so much peace and appreciation and yeah, and I was listening to It's a Wonderful World,
Mm,
and I could just, you know, I was just really sitting in so much gratitude for the self-mastery work because those moments, and this is, you know, I guess this is just, yeah, what a joy spark is, those moments where nothing particular is happening, but I just feel so much gratitude and feel that life and the world is beautiful despite all the chaos. Um, those are so abundant in my life,
mm,
and the more connected I stay, the more consistent I stay with my practice, those joy sparks are just abundant in my life. And yeah, so I was just sitting in so much gratitude, and I thought, oh, I'm going to share that, and there's a joy spark tomorrow. And I think, like, one of the things that we maybe haven't made abundantly clear is that we're really inviting listeners, like our joy sparks.
yeah,
They're not
yeah.
just for us to share, like bragging about these
Yeah.
great moments in our life. It really are an invitation to all of our listeners to notice moments like that in their life.
Mm,
And, you know, we would love to hear about them as well. In fact, you know, I'm going to set a little challenge that everyone listens comments a joy spark this week because I think it is in the noticing as well that is such a gift, and being really present. So yeah
I love that challenge. Yeah,
yeah
I love that challenge. Mm, thank you.
Okay, shall we ground and anchor?
Yes, let's do it.
We'll soon take a short moment to ground and anchor together. If this conversation resonated and you'd like to go a little deeper, we'd love to welcome you into our Joy Circle, a monthly newsletter where we share extra reflections, meditations, and resources to support you. You can find us on Instagram at School of Joy Podcast, and we'd love for you to support us on our mission to spread more light and joy in the world by sharing with family and friends. You'll find all the links in the episode description. Thanks again for listening.
Taking that pause, taking that breath. It's really supporting us. Step out of the reaction and into the observance. And let us ground and anchor that practice. Of pausing more regularly into our daily lives.